it's Tom Pankhurst for JAK, and I'm introducing you to the brand new for 2021 Ibanez 7-string AZ series. So this is obviously a brand new line of guitars for Ibanez. They've previously had the AZ models out for, I think, a few years now. If you're not aware of what the AZ series is, it's essentially Ibanez's answer to those player guitars that have been sort of becoming more and more widespread and popular in the market. So we're looking at brands like Shure and Tom Anderson, things like that. This is Ibanez's take on it, and they've absolutely knocked it out of the park with the AZ series. So many people are playing them because they are so comfortable. They're quite different from what you'd expect from an Ibanez, so they're not particularly pointy. The wood choices are slightly more in line with players' guitars, so you're typically getting roasted maple necks, which makes them a little bit more stable and resistant to change and things like that. They also look really good. And the other thing that they've done with their AZ series in comparison to what you'd expect from Ibanez is the AZ series have 2-point non-locking tremolos, so you're not faffing around with a locking nut or anything like that. So the Ibanez 7-string AZ series is essentially how you'd expect it to be. It's a continuation of the AZ series. I personally own a 7-string Prestige, like an RG. I own a 1527, I think. But this, it feels familiar, but it has some really nice features that really set it apart from those things. So one of the things that Ibanez have done to make it more in line with the AZ series is they've kept the AZ neck profile. And what that means is that it's not wizard thin like you'd expect from Ibanez. It's a little bit thicker. To my hands, it's really comfortable. Like obviously they use something called S-Tech wood treatment, which is roasting the maple, but that's a specific thing for the Prestige line rather than the premium AZs. But it's really, really comfortable to play. It's slightly thicker. They call it their AZ oval shape, which is like a C sort of neck profile. One of the things that I thought was really interesting is that when you make 7-strings, when you are designing them, typically a lot of manufacturers will just increase the width of the neck. And that can end up with it becoming quite uncomfortable, and you feel like your hand stretching too far and things. I think the neck profile on this, if you're familiar with the AZ series, you will know how the AZ series feel, and they feel great. They're very not Ibanez-y in terms of wizardness. But this is really comfortable to put your hand on. Like, so when you're reaching down to that lower string, you've got all the access that you'd need. Like, because the back of the neck's not overly flat as well, you've got a little bit more like grippage with your thumb, and you can get your thumb into the right place. So if you're coming from like a wizard background or a different manufacturer, then this is really, really comfortable. Like, honestly, it's great. On this particular model, we've got something called the Prestige Fret Edge treatment, which is something that Ibanez offer on all of their Prestige guitars, which is their highest line of guitars aside from J Custom that come out of Japan. That means that, especially on a 7-string, when you get your thumb up high, if you play like that, it's just a little bit more comfortable. You're not going to be grinding on any of the frets along the side or anything. It's just very comfortable. To keep the guitar more in line with Ibanez's previous offerings, we've got jumbo stainless steel frets, and we've got a bone nut actually on this model because we're not locking or anything. So they've gone for like one of the highest quality bone nuts that you can get. We've also got locking tuners on this model. All the AZ series come with locking tuners because they're just a staple of that sort of player series guitar thing that people play, particularly with 2-point non-locking trems, because you just need that extra little bit of stability. And particularly in addition to the bone nut, that's going to mean that you're not going to be getting your strings caught or anything, and it's going to be really, really comfortable to use. So in terms of the body, we've got an older body, which is sort of a departure from what you'd expect again from Ibanez, which is like that basswood combo with like maybe a maple top or something like that. But we've got an older body here. In terms of the pickups, we've got 2 Hyperion pickups, which is standard for the AZ line. These are obviously redesigned for the 7-string. One thing that I thought was really cool with these is that they've obviously made a really, really conscious effort to make sure that that low end really doesn't get muddy. It was a massive problem on 7 strings because you end up with like, yeah, you've got the lowness, but it doesn't have any of the clarity, and it just sort of gets really muddy. These don't have that problem, particularly when you combine it in the split coil positions, and with this little switch here, which enables the 10-way switching that they've got going on. So you've essentially got 10 different pickup options. It's a lot of pickup options, but in particular with those split coils, so position 2 and 4, and even the middle one as well, you've got the option to really like draw out some of that low mid character and just give it a little bit more spank and bite, which is really cool. For the trem, we've got a 7-string Goto trem. These are trems designed specifically for the AZ series, so they're really similar, to, I think, to the Goto 510 trem, which is why I love these things so much, because I love 510 trems. It's a 2-point trem, so it's not like a Floyd Rose or the Ibanez Edge series. It's more in line with something like a standard Goto, which is great. One of the things that's really cool about these as well is that the bars just sort of pop in, but they don't require any of the grommets or anything that you would normally get with a Prestige model, particularly with the Edge series things. So this one just pops in and then you tighten it and then you're good to go. You've also got the option to intonate your guitar easily as well, which is why I love these trems, because you're not having to remove the string to move that little screw, if you're familiar with that with the Edge series and things like that. You literally just adjust intonation on the back, which is fantastic. On the back, we've got a carve for your hand that you would expect from the AZ series. Obviously, everything about this guitar is sort of like a continuation of what the AZ series is. So these things are on the 6-string versions. This is just the same sort of design. It means that you've got all of the upper fret access that you need. You can put your finger right up in there. Feels good. We've got the standard 4-bolt construction that you would expect from an Ibanez as well, which is great. One of the things I just noticed is that in the back cavity here with the springs, these actually come with little rubber like sleeves, I guess, for the springs to stop them from rattling in the back. So if you've done any recording, sometimes like you play and then you can hear that like noise from the springs in the back. They've just put some rubber around it, and it comes with that stock, which is fantastic because you don't have to stuff like a sock or something in the back of your guitar, which is perfect. So hopefully in this video you would have been able to hear the enormous versatility of this thing. Ibanez, I think, have just knocked it out of the park. It goes from like that metal thing that everyone is probably going to use this for, but it also does like really nice sort of jazzier tones by rolling off the tone. We're able to get sort of bluesy tones and like spanky Strat style tones by putting it in those in-between positions and flicking that little switch. The trem is really easy to use. I've been keeping my eye on these because I would potentially quite like one. And honestly, this is really great, and you should definitely try and get your hands on one if you can. So as always, please let us know what you think in the comments. Have you been keeping your eye on these like I have? Is there anything you would like to know about them? Because as it stands currently, we're like one of the few people who's actually got their hands on one, and I'll try and answer some of that in the comments if I can. You know, leave us a comment if you have any questions, leave us a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to see more things like this, and we'll see you next time.